The title of this discourse is Lunch is for Wimps. That's a quote from Gordon Gekko, uh, who was a character from Oliver Stone's masterpiece called Wall Street. Essentially, that is symbolic for the idea of socialization and the truth that those who truly become great uh, tend to be against the grain in every way, not the least of which is isolating themselves from the traditions and the common ways of people in society. You know, this discourse really isn't about teaching you what to do or just like all the other things that I write. I mean, it really isn't to tell anyone what to do because those things generally go nowhere. The question, and it's all about questions, the question is not whether one should socialize or not socialize or whether he should be in a group or isolate himself. Um, there is no right or wrong. There's nothing for me to tell you or anyone else what is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. Rather, it's about understanding that society can only bring someone down. Now, if someone is already down, then society is not going to really harm them because the conditioning is already complete and or that individual does not have that sort of DNA that um, that is really threatened by society. Uh, but there, amongst elite circles in business and in sports and in all domains, uh, there is a obviously the traditions and the natural way of being of human beings um, is to socialize, is to get together, is to have a cocktail party, is to have group dinners and there's nothing wrong with that or right with that. But I think that something often goes missed, and that is that those things are seen as completely harmless and or a way to derive a sense of pleasure um, without producing any untoward side effects. I think that's a mistake. The recognition that socialization has a cost is a recognition that is lost on the vast majority of people um, because it is seen truly as harmless. Whatever environment an organism exposes him or herself to, that organism has no choice whatsoever whether he or she will become conditioned by that environment. Uh, no one is powerful enough to remain immune to conditioning. That, I think, is a fundamental truth that must be realized, and it will, and the truths that I talk about uh, generally are best imbibed by those who are elite in their craft, um, because those who are already elite tend to be very sympathetic and have an open eye and an open ear for ways to become elite in all parts of their life. Their DNA is already there. So now it's just a matter of shining that light in a different direction. Those who are not elite and or who don't have any interest in being elite, um, no one starts from zero and gets to 100. It doesn't really happen. Those are nice sort of rags to riches stories, but they're not true. It they may be true from a financial standpoint that one had nothing and ended up becoming wealthy. That's fine, but that DNA was always there. They didn't start from zero. So uh, these things are not for the masses. These things are not for the people who don't have that sort of desire slash DNA slash sincerity slash seriousness. So these are for the people who already have something of a DNA, and or who have already gotten there, so to speak, in a particular domain. Um, they have a lot to lose. The person who is elite in his domain has a lot to lose by socialization, because whatever group that he finds himself amidst, um, it may be that there's one person there who he can truly benefit from a conditioning perspective, but that's very unlikely. It is virtually certain that the vast majority, in most cases, all the people who he socializes with are going to bring him down in ways that he does not realize. Um, that's the danger. If someone brings you down in ways that you realize, then you can do something about it. You can counteract it. You can stop associating with that person. It becomes evident. But the danger really is in the things that are not seen. Human beings will always regress towards the mean, always. Just like water that laps the edge of a rocky shore, over time erodes that rocky shore. That rocky shore has no choice but to be eroded. So, you know, a lot of times there's a habit of doing things because you sort of fall into habits without knowing that you're doing them. And because everyone else is doing them too, it's never questioned. But, if you examine what you being among the elite, if you examine what you say at these parties and the things that you discuss and the jokes that you laugh at and the the topics that are talked about, it's all drivel. I mean, of what meaning is it? Of what significance is it? What is it besides just passing the time? So you know, that's those are these are very um, low level things for someone who himself isn't low level. And each time that is done, then one imbibes subconsciously things that sort of takes the edge off of his uniqueness. It sort of dulls the sharpness of his rarity. And the very recognition that that is at risk, that his uniqueness and his rarity and his originality, that those things are at risk, I think changes the game. Because then one does not view socialization um, as harmless. Everything in this life has a cost. Everything. From the things that are most menial to the things that are most apparently significant. Nothing is free. So the person who truly seeks the truth about these things um, will recognize that there is a cost to socialization as well. I'll go so far as virtually all the friends that an elite person has are not to his benefit. They are to his detriment. They are bringing him down, whether he realizes that or not. So the person who realizes these things, if he isn't already a loner, or if he isn't already a recluse, if he isn't already an isolationist, um, he will see the practical benefit of being so. And this is not any sort of recommendation that one should be. It is in seeing the truth, one is able to make up his own decisions as to what will benefit him most and what will bring him harm. So overall, socialization is an incredible waste of time. If there is a very particular reason for it, one seeks to make a particular connection in their business, or one needs to meet someone that could be of that he could provide value to, and the other person could as well. those are strategic and potentially beneficial things. Um, but in those situations, one is going in with their eyes open. They're going in with a particular focus, uh, as opposed to going in um, unguarded. And going in unguarded is when the floor falls out. That's when problems usually arise. Um, Whatever you do with open eyes, it tends to not hurt you. But the things that you are unaware of, the things that you become blindsided by, those things happen as a result of not knowing the domain in which you're walking into, where the traps lie, so to speak. Um, so, if you watch human beings, it's said that human beings are social creatures. I'm not. I have no evidence for that. I'm not certain that that's the case. I know for a fact that human beings like to justify what they do, and they justify the status quo. And since they enjoy being social, it's very easy to say that they were meant to be social creatures. Um, but but of what benefit is this socialness that happens? Much of social media is an insult. Posting pictures of silly things, and people talking about them walking their dog today. I mean, this is valuable human time that never returns, that is being spent on frivolousness. Um, the the addiction to smartphones and internet, and the proliferation of these things is an enormous cost to the quality of human life. Human beings just waste their lives across the board, whether it is the elite or whether it is the common. They all waste their lives. The question is, how much of their lives are they wasting? And it is the dramatic realization of that on a visceral level, that one is indeed wasting their life, even though they may have earned billions of dollars and created great things or become a superstar. That's fine, but the fact that one is still wasting their life is a realization that when it hits home to one or maybe two people, uh, that's a game changer. That that has a fairly pronounced impact. That that has the power to have them change course. And once again, it isn't my recommendation that they should change course. The the My desire to change someone is practically non-existent. It you know, um, I find that these things are of value to speak about, largely for myself. I enjoy speaking about things that are deep and are not seen in society. Um, and this is very much one of them. Socialization is largely a complete waste of time. It is the filling of empty space, and frankly, so is the idea of productivity. Productivity is busy work. I mean, that's a podcast for another day, but productivity is busy work. I mean, it's so what that you got 20 things done today. Um, they're not. Most of those things are not significant, anyways. So the quality of life is really a matter of engagement, how lost and how engaged something is in the creation of something. Not that the creation of it, to be honest, actually matters, but the quality of the life is at its peak when someone is fully engaged in something, as opposed to doing things for an ulterior motive, or as opposed to doing things because it's, quote, good for them, or because it's, quote, healthy. Um, so this is a view on socialization that society does not offer up. In fact, it's the opposite. Society creates groups and institutions and conferences and meetings and social events and cocktail parties and get-togethers and cookouts and all of these things in order to bring people together to talk about drivel. Uh, Take this for what you will. I have no recommendations, but Gecko's right. Uh, Lunch is for wimps. Good night.